So hey guys, the series name is What If Naruto Was Sent into Rosario Vampire World. So let's start the series. A blonde boy with whisker marks laid on the ground in an alley, motionless in a pool of his own blood. One would think he was dead if it was for the slow but steady rise and fall of his chest. This boy was Naruto. Naruto had spent his whole life hated by his village, but instead of hating them as well, he protected them. On multiple occasions he saved the village, such as when he fought of the Ichibi Shikaku during the Chunin exams. He helped out countless civilians during D-rank missions, even after Kakashi had stopped accepting them, always willing to give someone a smile when a glare was sent his way. But even Naruto wasn't invincible. The glares still hurt, so he closed his eyes when he smiled so that he didn't have to see them. After learning about why the villagers hated him, he stopped trying to escape or run away when one attacked him out of spite. He kept all of this from his teammates and friends, so that if they asked around because of it they wouldn't find his secret. Now he paid the price for allowing an attack. A former shinobi had attacked Naruto with a hidden kunai, stabbing him in the side. After that, the ex-ninja continuously and relentlessly stabbed the 13-year-old boy until he seemed to be unconscious, basically dead and left to bleed out. An hour or so later, his team stood frustrated at the front gates. This was their first official B-rank mission, not counting the surprise A-rank mission to Nami no Kuni. Their blonde teammate had been the one who seemed most excited for the mission, but was nowhere to be seen near the gates. Come on Kakashi-sensei, can't we just leave without Naruto Baka? This was his first teammate Haruno Sakura. She had short bubblegum pink hair and emerald green eyes. No Sakura, we can't, he was assigned this mission with us. It seems like Sasuke over is also willing to wait for him. Kakashi, Naruto's sensei spoke. The silver-haired man normally was late by at least 2 hours if not 3, so he couldn't necessarily fault Naruto for being late for the first time since they became a team. The dobe is never this late. We might as well just go and find him, was the reply that his raven-haired teammate gave. Is that concern I hear in your voice, Sasuke-chan? It was rare for him to say things like that. Kakashi was sure that if it was Sakura that was an hour late, he would be the one begging them to leave while Naruto would want to look for her. No, I just know that the dobe was too excited about this mission to miss it. Ugh. Who cares, Naruto Baka will just hold us back anyways. Sakura yelled. I guess we should go look for him. Sasuke, Sakura, come with me. The three went walking through the town until they came to the red light district. This surprised Sakura, who immediately thought it was because Naruto might be doing perverted things here. At least until Kakashi came up to a shoddy and broken down apartment building. They climbed up the stairs that were close to the doorway until they reached a door labeled 106. Kakashi knocked, only to hear no reply. He knocked again, same thing. They were about to leave when a pretty lady came up the stairs and went to room 107, the one right next to Naruto's. By any chance would you happen to know where the tenant of room 106 is? Kakashi took his chances with the woman. There were two things he predicted could happen. She could get disgusted by the mention and not answer them, or she would know Naruto enough that she didn't hate him. Oh, you mean Naruto? She got a curt nod from Kakashi. He said he was leaving for his first official high-rank mission. The boy was so excited he said he barely slept a wink. I think he went out of the back door. The landlord always hated to see him. She smiled as she talked about him, a clear sign that she liked the young boy. Thanks, we've just got to pick him up that mission. The three walked out of the building through the back door and walked the narrow and unfamiliar streets. A man seemed to be bragging about something to another. The other man seemed to be surprised, then happy. Team 7 walked along for a bit longer until they heard strained breathing, a sign that someone was injured. The breaths came in similar intervals, revealing the person to most likely be unconscious. They turned a corner into the alley and saw their blonde teammate lying on the ground face up. A tear was streaked across his sad and content face, and there were no signs of a struggle. What mortified the genin was the pool of blood their teammate laid in. It was clearly his own, and multiple stab wounds everywhere but the heart, indicating that the person who did it wanted Naruto to suffer and bleed to death. Naruto! All three yelled in unison. No nicknames, just Naruto. Kakashi and Sasuke were the first to run up to Naruto's body, the former carefully taking a medkit out of his mission storage scroll to stop the bleeding and wrap Naruto up. Sakura fell backwards in fear. What had happened to Naruto? This can't be real. Kakashi turned to Sakura. run to the Hokage's office and tell Lady Tsunade that Naruto is in critical condition and needs help. Kakashi was distressed. After losing all of his teammates, you would think he'd gotten used to it. But it was the exact opposite. With everything death, he felt worse and worse. Sasuke, on the other hand, was sweating buckets and worried. The guy he had come to view as a brother, the one who talked him out of leaving the village with Orochimaru, was nearly dead, motionless in Kakashi's arms as Sasuke wrapped up his midsection. Kakashi motioned for Sasuke to grab onto him, and shine to the hospital as quick as he possibly could. The head doctor saw Naruto and his condition. This doctor had been one of the few to help Naruto as a child. At first he was being forced by the Sandang to heal Naruto, but after getting to know Naruto, he had started to like him a lot. "Get in already! We have a patient in critical condition!" he yelled, but no one listened. No movement from a single person as they started at Naruto in disgust. This was the first time Sasuke was seeing the prejudice against Naruto firsthand. During their battle at the Valley of the End, Naruto had mentioned being ostracized from the village, but Sasuke thought it was only the glares. "What are you guys waiting for? Hurry!" Sasuke spoke up in a deadly and threatening voice to the staff, who just then started getting things ready. Naruto was soon ushered into the OR, where only the head doctor was allowed in. A minute or so after the operation started, Tsunade ran in and got cleaned up for an operation. She was the only other person besides the head doctor and Shizen allowed in. Not long after Tsunade got there, Shizen and Sakura came. Shizen said nothing and got cleaned up just like Tsunade, before putting on scrubs and going into the OR. The mission Team 7 had been on was currently suspended, as they all were waiting in the waiting room. I can't believe they would all just stand there and watch as Naruto was dying. Sasuke was pacing back and forth. He and Naruto's bond was no longer just that of rivals. If he were to compare it to one he had before, he would say he liked Naruto more than he ever did Itachi. Even before the massacre, due to the fact that Naruto was his equal unlike Itachi. After a 7-hour-long operation, Tsunade came out with blood covering her scrubs, the head doctor and Shizen right behind her. The 3 other members of Team 7 looked at her expectantly. Naruto should live. If the operation had started even a minute later, he would be dead. Team 7 let out a sigh of relief, glad that Naruto was okay. If it wasn't for that, Naruto wouldn't be alive. Sasuke and Kakashi knew what she was talking about immediately. Sasuke had seen firsthand how well it could heal Naruto during their battle at the Valley of the End, because he was prepared for it. Naruto had been able to heal a huge fist-sized hole in his chest Sasuke had given him, although he wasn't left without scars. But because Naruto was probably not ready for a singular attack, let alone the large amount he received, the wounds took longer to heal. Naruto had also told him about it during their fight. As for Kakashi, he had known since Naruto's birth. The only one confused was Sakura. "What are you talking about?" Tsunade realized that the Rosette didn't know, and planned to keep it that way. "It doesn't concern you." She nodded, obviously disappointed because she could tell the other 2 knew what they were talking about, but soon got over it. This time it was Kakashi that spoke. "When can we expect Naruto to wake up?" Tsunade looked sad. "I'm not sure. With the strain he's been put under, it could be anywhere from a day or two to a few years." The news shocked Team 7 to the core. They had known it wasn't going to be pretty, but a few years was a lot of time. "Kakashi, I think during that time we should move him there if this ever lasts a year. It might do him some good to tell him the truth after he wakes up." He simply nodded and walked out, motioning for his genin to follow him. This was going to be tough news for the other genin. Naruto woke up outside of a huge castle-like mansion. He walked up closer to the door, and when he put his hand on it, it opened. He was majorly confused. Not only was he in a place he didn't know the location of, but he was pretty sure he was stabbed within an inch of his life. He continued down the large hall, eventually coming upon a part so dark that he was afraid to keep going, not because he was afraid of the dark, but he could feel negative emotions coming out of there in waves for some reason. A pair of glowing blood-red eyes opened. The pupils were slits instead of round, but that didn't matter to Naruto. He could feel the pressure of the creature bearing down on him. "Welcome to our domain. This is where you'll be stuck for quite some time." A deep male voice came from the direction of the eyes Naruto saw. The voice was soft yet commanding, and regal but casual at the same time. I only see you in here," Naruto spoke for the first time since he arrived at the strange place. "Mean my in your domain. This is within your mindscape, where I reside, Once the man finished his sentence, blue flames came to life on torches attached to the wall. The new light illuminated the man who was revealed to be sitting on a throne. He had shaggy red hair that reached his mid-back, and 2 fox ears poking out at the top. His face held the same whisker-mark scars that Naruto's did. Behind him were 9 tails made of fire. He wore only black skinny jeans, no shirt or shoes, that allowed him to show his muscled upper body. The muscle was very visible, but incredibly lean. Why am I here? Apparently this is my mindscape. But why is it this weird castle? That is an easy question to answer. Your heritage. Heritage? But I'm an orphan? That doesn't mean you never had parents. You were born to 2 extremely powerful S-class yokai, Namikaze Minato, a vampire, and Uzumaki Kushina, a vampire as well. The 2 had escaped the arrogant nature of vampires and befriended me. That was nearly 5 years before my attack on Konoha. Namikaze Minato, the Yandame Hokage? Not only that, but he was a vampire? So does that mean I'm... Calm down, my ears are sensitive. Yes it does. Wait, attack on Konoha 9 flames. You're the Kyuubi? You're a lot different than all of the other times I met you. What you met was just a small sliver of my Yuki. It was accidentally imbued with only my hatred towards humans and locked away in a more accessible part of your mindscape. Why did you do it? Why'd you attack Konoha? You said my parents were your friends. And my dad was Hokage at the time. Although not yelling, Naruto used an accusatory tone. It was due to a genjutsu affecting my mind. At the time, I was near Konoha when a man in a mask approached me. From there the genjutsu forced me to attack Konoha. I was still able to talk. So your father made an agreement with me. He would seal me into you, and I would protect you and your secret. That's why I'm sealed in the first place. Really? What about me being a vampire? And why haven't I had the urge for blood or something? On top of that, I really like garlic bread and sunbathing, and nothing has ever happened. Just like I said, I kept your secret. I was able to suppress your vampire blood with my Yuki, stopping you from having urges for blood. As for garlic bread, vampires aren't weak to garlic, they're only weak to water. Naruto looked at his hands with a strange emotion. It wasn't quite disgust, but disappointment. He was a monster, and a demon. He didn't feel bad for denying the villagers. He felt bad for denying his parents. He lived just as if he was a normal human. Faced the glares for the sake of the village. While you're sleeping, I will slowly release your Yuki into your body. This process will take about a year. During that year, I'll train your Yuki in here with you. What's this Yuki thing you're talking about? I've never heard of it. It's what we yokai use instead of chakra. When you thought I was giving you chakra, I was actually giving you Yuki that was being changed into chakra via the seal on your stomach. It's very similar to chakra. And once I'm done releasing it into your body, it should combine with your chakra, allowing you to use both. But I'm not too sure if it will work properly. Wow, that's so reassuring. You could almost see the sarcasm dripping off of his voice. Then, another year will be spent with me breaking the seals on you. Memory seals? Like what's keeping you in is keeping memories out? Yes, but these are completely separate from my own. When you were 7 or so, they were placed on you, stopping your memories of the last year from reaching you. It even worked on me. If I had been awake for the sealing, I wouldn't have known they were even on you. Memory seals? Huh, whatever happened that year had been filled in with fake memories. Please remove it, Kyuubi-san, Naruto asked politely, something he rarely did. He had a feeling that those memories would be very important to him soon. Well then, the first thing I'm going to teach you is how to create Kitsune by Foxfire, the most commonly used technique among Yoko. My race use it in various ways. He snapped his fingers, and at the top of his pointer finger, a small blue flame was created. He then extinguished it, and continued on. Since you can already use my Yuki, I figured this would be the best and fastest to learn first. From there I'll teach you a fighting style, and last but not least, your vampiric abilities. Naruto gave the Kyuubi a big smile. Let's get to know each other over the next couple of years. The toothy grin reminded the Kyuubi of Kushina, but the Gaki's face was reminiscent of Minato's. Sure, Gaki, the king of Yoko, smiled down at Naruto from his throne. It was going to be fun seeing the Gaki's face when he wakes up completely different. It has been a year since Naruto entered his coma. During this time, Sasuke poured everything into his training. Whenever Kakashi wasn't knee-deep in missions, the two trained together. Sasuke had already decided that he would follow in Kakashi's footsteps as the next copy Nin, and personal guard to the next Hokage. "Oh, Kakashi," the raven-haired boy called out to his former Jonin sensei who was sitting on the dock where Sasuke and Naruto first met. He had quit being a Jonin halfway through Naruto's Coma 6 months ago, and went back to being in the Umbu. Kakashi noticed his student and waved him over. "Yes, Sasuke, what's up?" The 14-year-old sat down next to his sensei, holding his knees to his chest like a child. "Do you ever think Naruto will wake up? It's already been a whole year, and he hasn't so much as moved a finger." Kakashi looked at his young student. He was the reason Naruto still had a chance to live, and yet was wondering if he was ever going to wake up. "Don't worry, Sasuke. It's Naruto we're talking about here. As soon as he's ready, he'll wake up." Kakashi stood up and tapped Sasuke on the shoulder. "It's about time we tell you the truth about Naruto. Since you reminded me that it's been exactly a year, we're gonna move him." "Move him, like you said in the hospital? Where?" Sasuke stood up, now almost as tall as his sensei. "His home." Sasuke looked appalled and puzzled. Why would they move him to such a shitty place when the hospital is working just fine? Nevertheless, Sasuke followed Kakashi to the Hokage Tower, where they were going to ask permission. Tsunade had been extremely stressed recently. It was officially the 1-year anniversary of Naruto falling into a comatose state. There had been a few attempts on his life by nurses, but other than that, his coma life was pretty quiet. She was absorbed in her thoughts when a knock came on the door. "Come in," she said, sitting up straight in her chair. It was Kakashi and Sasuke. She was worried about the two's mental health after what happened with Naruto, but they seemed to be coping the best they could. It was Kakashi who spoke after closing the door and activating a privacy seal. "I'd like to move Naruto into the Namake's mansion today." Tsunade just nodded, as if it was completely normal to be moved to a mansion in the middle of a coma. "Wait, Namake's? I thought you said he was moving home." Sasuke had the first outburst he had in a while. The busted blonde sighed. "Yes, Namake's, the Yandame's mansion. It's his birthright. Haven't you noticed how similar Naruto looks to him? The blonde hair and blue eyes. Take the whiskers off and remove his tan. Then Naruto will just be a carbon copy of the Yandame." Sasuke pondered and though for a bit. "You're right, but how come the villagers didn't know this? If they had, Naruto wouldn't have had to go through all of that pain." Tsunade sighed again. "That's very true, however, those were the Sandame's decisions, not mine. The only thing I can assume is to protect him from foreign enemies. I had my mind split on when to tell him, and planned to do it after your guys B-rank." Sasuke nodded. "Let's go, Sasuke. I'll need your help in moving the equipment." With that, the two disappeared in a swirl of leaves. "I can't take it anymore. I need to go back," Naruto yelled as he ran through the halls of his mindscape. "Get back here! It's the last day of your training. After today I still need to disable the memory seals." The Kyuubi chased after him, but this was Naruto's mind, not his. The fact that he could change the hallways at will was annoying to the large fox. Over the last year, Naruto had gained gigantic amounts of Yuki, enough to give most B-class monsters a run for their money without even transforming into his vampire form. But his Yuki reserves would increase one last time today. Today is the final day of his training with the Kyuubi, and the day he would add his chakra to his Yuki, basically doubling his reserves. Fine. At the mention of his memories being restored, he transformed the hallway they were in into a large empty training room with skylights. Naruto sat down in the middle, in lotus position. The Kyuubi was behind him on his knees with his hands hovering over Naruto's back. "This is gonna hurt like a bitch, for you at least." That was the only warning Naruto got before his body felt like it was on fire. It was like he in the middle of 10,000 suns, burning him alive. This feeling lasted for 10 minutes, him being unable to even scream out in pain during the experience. "I don't suggest you try to move for a bit. I'll return to the throne room and start working on the memory seal. It's not like you'll remember every little detail though. You'll only remember what you would have if the seal hadn't been placed." The Kyuubi was enveloped in swirling blue flames before disappearing to the throne room. Damn him and his dramatic exits. Just talking made Naruto's body cry out in pain. "That's good, Sasuke. You can set it down now." Kakashi and Sasuke were currently at the Namake's mansion and Sasuke was carrying the heart monitor. A bit after that, Naruto's body started heating up in the real world to incredible degrees. "Kakashi, what's happening to Naruto?" Sasuke was the first to notice, and he realized that it wasn't normal body heat. He activated his Sharingan to see a red and purplish aura surrounding Naruto. Kakashi followed in suit and pulled up his headband. "Don't worry, Sasuke. This could be a good thing. It looks like the Kyuubi's chakra is attempting to heal whatever is causing the coma. Kakashi and Sasuke sat down next to Naruto after confirming he was okay and started talking to him. It was something they did once a month while visiting him. They talked about arbitrary things and even how Sasuke said he was going to be Naruto's Umbu during his time as Hokage. It was one of the things he promised after Naruto went under. They talked about the rest of the Konoha 12, and how things were going at the moment. They swore that whenever they started talking about certain things, a smile would appear on his face. The two guys weren't sure when Naruto was gonna wake up, but waited for the news excitedly. They could have never imagined that instead of being weak after 2 years of sleep, Naruto would be stronger than when he started. It was going to be a normal day for Naruto: wake up, eat breakfast, and go visit Gigi. After that, he could do whatever he wanted. He hopped out of his crappy bed and onto the floor. He changed from his pajamas into a white shirt with a red fire-like swirl on the front and black shorts. After quickly brushing his teeth, he checked his secret money box he saved all of his allowances in. Then he went to get breakfast. Recently there had been a shortage of food in his house, so he walked out the door with only an apple in his hand. He had perfected his routine. The only reason was to avoid the glares sent his way, so instead of walking, he ran down to the Hokage's office every day. It also helped him with not hearing the gossip about him everywhere he went. When he got to the tall tower in the center of the village, Naruto ran in the door and stopped at the receptionist's desk. "Hi ma'am, is Gigi in a meeting or anything?" The receptionist in the Hokage's office was one of the few people that didn't hate the young blonde. Being indifferent towards him was what got her the job in the first place, so Naruto didn't want to be accidentally rude to her and make the young woman hate him. "No Naruto, you can go right in. Thanks." The blonde ran into the Hokage's room, alerting the old man of his presence. "Oh, Naruto-kun. How are you?" Naruto ran behind the Hokage's desk and hugged him. "I'm good, Gigi. How about you?" Hiruzen shot a glare at the paperwork on his desk before returning his gaze to Naruto with a smile. "I'm good as well." The two talked for quite some time about trivial things, and stuff Naruto had found in the forests recently. After about 30 minutes, the Hokage had to return to doing his accursed paperwork. "Bye Gigi." "Bye Naruto." The 6-year-old ran out the door and down the stairs. Talking to his Gigi was one of the highlights of his day. From here on out it only got worse. Heading to park, like usual after a talk with Gigi, he saw a girl wearing a white dress and no shoes sitting on the swings alone. She looked to be the same age as him and was upset about something. Even if this potential new friend didn't play with him the next day, he would be happy enough just to help her out this once. He made up his mind quickly and sat on the swing next to her. "Hi, I'm Naruto, nice to meet ya." Getting close to the girl, he realized she was really pretty. She had silver hair that looked like moonlight and pale skin that complemented it. At the moment, she was looking down, so he couldn't see her eyes. Naruto stuck his hand out for a handshake, and she brought her head up a bit to look at it before looking down again. "Hello? Anybody there?" He continued to wave his hand a little more until she looked up, an annoyed look on her face. "What do you want?" Now that she was looking him in the eye, he could see all of her facial features. A small nose and narrow eyes, small pink lips that glistened in the light. But two parts stood out to him especially. In her mouth were fangs where her canines would normally be, long and sharp like an animal's, and her eyes were dyed a deep shade of crimson and looked like blood had been dripped in them to give them color. Her pupils were slits like a cat's and giving off a predatory vibe. Her beauty was alluring, and for Naruto, it was like love at first sight, something he had never felt before. But Naruto was Naruto. He was very used to hiding his emotions from people, like the sadness he hid daily from Gigi and the villagers, and the anger towards the villagers for the way they treated him. "I was wondering what was wrong. I would recognize a sad person from a mile away. What's happened that made you so sad?" The girl looked away from him again and muttered under her breath, "It's none of your business." A sigh came from Naruto, who just sat next to her in silence. Maybe this wasn't something she needed to talk about. Sometimes being quiet was good medicine for pain. The two children sat in silence for almost an hour until the girl looked up to see Naruto still there next to her on the swing, still quiet. "It's just my home situation. My father has been getting increasingly stranger as time goes on. It's as if he's not himself. And my stepmother is starting to be more open about everything, and trying to gain control over the household. Because of that, my sisters seem to be in distress, and I'm not the best with emotions. so when my sisters came to me for comfort I might have ended up hurting her more than helping. Naruto sat still, processing the information. After a bit, he gave her a wide grin. If you're this worried about your sisters then that means you love them, right? The girl nodded, of course. She sounded very offended by the question, like it was her pride being attacked. And I'm sure they love you too. If they came to confide in you, that means they at least like you as well. That means they should know that you're not the best with that emotional kind of stuff. I'm sure they'll forgive you if you apologize. The earliest form of talk no jutsu had just been used, therapy no jutsu, a tool he used whenever he found someone sad like him on the playground. She smiled slightly, but not enough that it was noticeable. Thanks, my name is Mocha. What's your? He went for a handshake once again. Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you, Mocha-chan. Mocha returned his handshake this time, but her expression had changed from one of sadness to one of seriousness. Nice to meet you too, Naruto. Naruto woke up from the memory happy. It was the first meeting he had with someone who seemed to be in a lot of his future memories. As for his body, he could still barely move. But since one seal didn't mean only one memory, he was dragged back to the dreamlike world once again. He was now sitting under a tree in the middle of a forest with a girl standing in front of him. The girl had silver hair and blood-red eyes with slit pupils. Her hair fell all the past the mid-back, stopping where her back ended. Today she was wearing a red dress and flats. It was Mocha. She was also a vampire, although that fact was unknown to Naruto. It was her closest guarded secret. Naruto could feel his body heating up considerably while the girl looked at him, and a strange feeling emerged in his chest. It was like when he looked at Sakura nowadays, but 10 times more than that. He only had a crush on Sakura. This was something completely different. Naruto, wake up! Mocha waved her hand in front of Naruto's half-open eyes. His eyes opened full on their own and he yawned. Good morning, Mocha-chan. When did you get here? He slowly stood up, showing him to be about the same height as her, if not a little taller. I've been waiting for you for a while. You said we would meet here yesterday. The girl sounded to be pouting about him falling asleep even if it didn't show on her face. Yet again his body responded out of his control. Sorry, Mocha-chan. I came early because I was excited and ended up falling asleep. Just don't do that again. It was annoying trying to wake you up. He rubbed the back of his head sheepishly, a habit he did when he was embarrassed. I'll try. So what are we gonna do today? Mocha spoke in an arrogant-sounding voice that still had some semblance of kindness, but Naruto could tell that was just how she spoke rather than her actual feelings. At first, she only found him because of the yuki she could sense in him. He was a yokai, the same as her, and her father always said to stick close to fellow yokai if you could find one in the human world. That's how it started. But before the day ended, she found herself just having fun in general and being herself, something she couldn't do often back at home. I found something really cool that I wanted to show you. Naruto grabbed her and started running off to the right of the tree that they started at. Eventually, they came upon a very tall tree with branches that looked like they were there only for climbing. Looking up further, one could see a treehouse, not the kind that was built artificially. It looked like the treehouse was a part of the tree itself. Come on, I waited until you got back to check it out. So let's go. Naruto spoke with enthusiasm as he started climbing with his little limbs. The branches were just close enough that he and Mocha could climb up with little trouble. The two 6-year-olds made their way to the top rather quickly, a result of them not having normal strength for someone their age. Even if Naruto's vampire blood was being held back, he still was stronger than basically everyone his age. Naruto climbed up onto the treehouse part of the tree and helped Mocha in. Wow was all he could say. The place had only been hollowed out enough that kids could fit in, and was quite spacious for the two children. When Mocha got in, she looked around in awe as well. There were 2 wooden cots in the corner with dusty and old blankets on them, basically telling her that no one had been there in a long time. It seems abandoned. Naruto looked to be pondering something for a bit before breaking into a foxy grin. Let's use this as our secret meeting place. I thought that there might be people using it, but now that you say it's abandoned, we should use it. The blonde goofball's smile was contagious, causing the normally cold Mocha to smirk. It was one of 2 emotions she had openly shown on her face to Naruto during their time together. Her face was either neutral, or in a smirk. Seems fine to me. The young vampiress walked around the treehouse. It was a cozy feeling little place, and she quite liked it. As for Naruto, he loved the place. It was more spacious and comfortable than the lousy apartment he had back in the main part of the village. so he quite liked the fact that there was a cot. If he brought some of his blankets, it might be even more comfortable than his bed. Yes. He ran over and enveloped Mocha in a hug, causing the vampiress to blush profusely. But because he was hugging her, he couldn't see the bright shade of red her face went. You Naruto? Yeah? Can you please release me? Oh yeah, sorry. He rubbed the back of his head again, chuckling softly. That was when his vision went white and the memory faded from his view. Naruto shot up from his position, tears running down his cheeks. Mocha-chan, the teen vampire, was able to move his body now, although it still hurt a bit. He figured that since his mindscape was made up of his mind and chakra, having it changed must have affected his body, and thus his mindscape's projection of his body. Why am I crying over someone I've never seen before? It's simple, Gaki, you do know her. It might seem like you're watching someone else, but that's you. And the fact that Mocha hasn't been seen by you even once for the past 6 years means that something might have happened to her. When we get your memories back, it might do you some good to look into it. He turned to look and saw the Kyuubi resting beside him. Naruto looked at his red-headed friend. I guess you're right. I just have to wait out the year. Easier said than done. What am I supposed to do when I'm not experiencing a memory? Train your Yuki control. We didn't do that for the entire year because I knew there would have to be breaks between memories, until you can master your huge Yuki reserves. I'll do everything in my power to keep you from waking up, even if you've unlocked all of your memories. He laid down on the floor and started throwing a fit. Why? I've got so much that it shouldn't matter. Instead of listening to the pathetic 14-year-old throw a fit, the Kyuubi dragged him by his collar outside of the mansion in his mindscape. It wouldn't matter if you had enough Yuki to fill the ocean if you have no control over it. You'll always do things excessively. Think of it like this. You have a pool that you need to fill by using the ocean that is your Yuki. The pool has a set amount of water that it can hold. Any more than is necessary will spill out and be wasted while not adding to the water inside of the pool. So if you use only the necessary amount to max out the technique's usefulness, you'll have more left over in the end to do multiple techniques. Kyuubi didn't think that he would have to explain why using too much chakra or Yuki then helps is stupid. Because of that, he was going to make sure that Naruto could separate a drop from the ocean while pouring it into a bucket, the epitome of chakra and Yuki control. Fine, that was when his vision faded to black yet again. Naruto woke up due to sunlight filtering through the window of the treehouse. He groggily opened his eyes and rolled off of his cot. Yesterday Mocha hadn't come, but he was fine with it. The girl couldn't always hang with him. She seemed to have a loving family, and Naruto doubted that she wouldn't want to at least be with them one day a week. After climbing down the tree and walking to the stream nearby to wash his face, he heard the rustling of tall bushes. He didn't have much experience fighting animals. Humans, sure. Living in the red light district had made him into a brawler. Who's there? He shouted in an attempt to scare the animal off or make any people reveal themselves. Relax, Naruto. It's just me. The voice of an elderly man came through the bushes, and soon after an old man dressed in white robes came out. Gigi. Naruto ran up and hugged the man's leg, causing the man to pat him on the back. What are you doing out here, Naruto-kun? I couldn't find you in your apartment, so I got a bit worried and came here. Naruto grinned widely. I slept out here yesterday. I just woke up a little bit ago. Even though Gigi was Gigi, Naruto had told Mocha that the treehouse they found would be a secret. And Naruto didn't go back on his word. Where did you sleep, Naruto-kun? As far as he could see, there were no leaf beds around that he could have slept on. Naruto shook his head. That's a secret, Gigi. Can't tell you. His grandfather figure was a bit surprised. But if Naruto was keeping a secret, then there had to be a good reason. Naruto! The voice of Mocha could be heard calling for Naruto in the direction of the treehouse. Not about to let Gigi find out. Naruto calls back. Over here, Mocha-chan. Hiruzen was intrigued as to which child would be playing with Naruto, since most kids stayed away from him. It was nice to see that the boy had a friend his age. He didn't expect what he saw next. A young girl wearing a blue and white striped tank top and shorts walked up to them. She had silver hair and red eyes with slit pupils. There you are. I didn't see you when she first arrived. Her view was obstructed by some bushes, enough that she didn't see Hiruzen at first. Naruto, who's that? Hiruzen had never seen the girl around the village, and from what he remembered there were no files about her, and to top it off, she didn't seem to know who he was. This is Gigi, he's the Hokage right now. Naruto had one of the biggest grins ever on his face. Okay, although Mocha didn't know what a Hokage was, it seemed to be a position of power where they were. Well, we've got something we're doing today, right? Even if Naruto trusted the old man, she had to be wary. She could tell that he had an aura of power around him, similar to her father's own. Not only that, but he seemed to be human. Hiruzen crouched down to Mocha and Naruto's level so that he could look her in the eye. Nice to meet you. Please take care of Naruto-kun. He's like a grandson to me. She just nodded and walked over to Naruto, taking his hand and disappearing into the bushes with him. The old Hokage smiled and shined back to his office and decided he could watch them on his crystal ball. When he got to his desk, he reached into one of the drawers and pulled out his crystal ball. It allowed him to monitor almost anywhere whenever he wanted, as to not lose where they were. Hiruzen immediately started channeling his chakra into the ball, and not long after he could see and hear Naruto and Mocha. Slow down, Mocha. Where are we going? Naruto was still being pulled along by the little girl somewhere. Mocha stopped to let Naruto catch his breath. We're going to go before that old man can find us. Gigi? Why would he follow us? He seems like a nosy type of guy. And do you really want him to find the treehouse? No. Then we need to keep moving. Where was this treehouse they spoke of? There was no way that the two could have built it themselves. They were only children. The two ended up finding one of the many training grounds of Konoha that connected to the forest. At the moment it was occupied with a team consisting of 3 genin, and someone who was probably a jonin. The 3 genin were fighting the jonin. This jonin in particular had a bandana like Hittite, dark round sunglasses, and wore the standard jonin outfit excluding the flak jacket. Naruto and Mocha had decided to sneak around the training ground. It wouldn't do either of them much good if that man saw them, in Naruto's case. He was worried that he would dislike him and call him a monster and do stuff to scare Mocha off. As for Mocha, she didn't want anyone to find out her secret, and that guy looked pretty capable compared to her. Okay guys, let's end training early today. The jonin then stopped all 3 of them mid-attack and helped them to not fall over. The genin acted sad, but you could tell they were happy to end early. But Naruto and Mocha didn't have the chance to see that, because once they heard end training early the children ran off. Not waiting for his genin to leave, the jonin headed off in Naruto and Mocha's direction. The two didn't make it far until the jonin landed in front of them. And where do you two think you're going? Especially you, demon brat. There it was. Mocha was worried she'd been found out and was about to make a run for it to draw the man away from Naruto. But the man didn't go for Mocha. Instead, the man picked Naruto up by the collar, while he squirmed wildly. Little girl, you should distance yourself from this boy if you don't want anything bad to happen to you. He's a demon child who will only bring bad things wherever he goes. Thoughts raced through Mocha's head, so he really is a yokai, and it wasn't just leftover energy I felt from him. While Naruto was struggling, his eyes changed color from an ocean blue to the same shade of crimson as Mocha's, along with his hair becoming platinum blonde, his canines elongated into fangs, and he was able to kick the jonin in the chest and make the jonin drop him. When he landed on his feet, he looked back at Mocha, crimson eyes tearing up. I'm sorry for lying to you, I just wanted to keep you as a friend. But he's right, you shouldn't play with me anymore. It won't do you any good. The jonin stood up, this time with a kunai, and started running at Naruto with speeds the 2 vampires could barely keep up with. The kunai was about to stab into Naruto's head when the Hokage appeared in a swirl of leaves alongside a dog-masked Umbu with gray-silver hair. The Umbu disarmed the jonin and took him down, pulling his arm up behind his back and placing him on the floor. As for the Hokage, he checked up on the 2 kids. I'm sorry for not arriving earlier, Naruto. The teary blonde started crying into the Hokage's robes. And Mocha, I hope you're still willing to be friends with Naruto after hearing what that man said. Mocha nodded to the elderly leader. She never intended to stop being Naruto's friend, even if he revealed his yokai form to her. But what if was shocked her? She never imagined that she would find another vampire like herself in the human world. As for you, Ebisu, Hiruzen turned to face the jonin. Normally there would a death penalty for what you did, but because you didn't say the full truth I'll let you off the hook this one time. The Umbu got off of Ebisu's back and disappeared into the shadows. Ebisu bowed to the Hokage and shot a glare at Naruto. Thank you, Hokage-sama. The young jonin then walked out of the forest as quickly as possible. Thank you for still being his friend, Mocha-chan. I'm sure Naruto appreciates it a lot. The young blonde that was previously crying into the Hokage's robes wiped his tears and turned to Mocha with the biggest smile she'd ever seen. Yeah. Thanks, Mocha-chan. Naruto's eyes slowly faded back to their ocean blue and his hair to its sunny yellow. To Mocha, Naruto was strange. How could someone who was obviously in so much pain have a smile so bright, unknown to Naruto? From that day on, he became her shining light. When he woke up this time, happiness overwhelmed him. It was a genuine and deep feeling of happiness that he rarely felt, the kind that made you feel as if you were dancing on clouds. A small smile crept its way onto his face. So you stuck by me. The small smile on Naruto's face was seen by the Kyuubi. He looked up at the bleak sky and whispered, Minato, Kushina, am I doing a good job? Who am I kidding? I should have started raising him earlier. Naruto fell on his back and looked up at the sky as well. I hope I can make you guys proud. Naruto, get your sorry ass ready to wake up, it's time. A thundering voice could be heard from behind a 15-year-old boy with platinum blonde hair. Naruto was balancing on one leg while standing on a pond, on one hand, a reddish-purple spinning orb of pure Yuki, and on the other, a pure sky-blue orb of swirling chakra. Okay. I just finished perfecting the technique you told me to try. He hopped off the pond with the two orbs still active. It actually worked, I'm surprised. If the seal changed my Yuki into chakra, why wouldn't it do the same thing to yours? And because your Yuki is partially chakra that was turned into Yuki, it still looks pure. The redhead had a smug look on his face. Annoyed as one should be when a giant talking fox in human form was smug, Naruto muttered under his breath, damned cocky fox. What was that? I couldn't hear you. The Kyuubi leaned in closer, hand cupped to his ear. I said you're cocky. You damn fox. Naruto gave into the fox's taunt, already knowing that foxes had excellent hearing from being trapped in his head with one for 2 years. Of course I am. I was right after all. Anyways, why am I leaving now? We haven't even broken the final memory seal. The two orbs dissipated and Naruto started doing baseball stretches. You think I don't know that? It's because we can't break the memory seal that I'm saying it's time for you to wake up. After you wake up you'll be able to search for Mocha. Seeing her might loosen the seal enough that I could break it. That seems like a surprisingly good idea. Maybe you are useful for something, you freeloader. Truth be told, Naruto was excited about looking for Mocha. Unlocking his memories of her had been something he enjoyed quite a lot. With each new memory, he got to know her better and awaited the next memory with even more excitement. The fox in human form scoffed. Just don't freak out when you wake up. Freak out? What would I freak out about? Just wait and see. Anyways, get ready, I'm sending you out in 30 seconds. January 7th, Konoha. It was a normal day for Tsunade. She woke up at her desk, filed a bit of paperwork, assigned a few D-rank missions to Genin teams and a couple of A or S-rank missions to a Jonin or Umbu team. What wasn't normal was the fact that the status sensor tag that she had put on Naruto said he was awake. She frantically got her secretary, Shizen, contact all of the former members of Team 7. I don't care if they just did missions and are trying to relax. This is more important. Yes, Tsunade-sama. After 5 minutes or so, all of Team 7 excluding Naruto were in the Hokage's office. But Tsunade was nowhere to be found. Only Shizen was waiting for them. Where's Hokage-sama? Sasuke asked. He was outfitted in his Umbu uniform. The teenage Uchiha had become a full-fledged Umbu 6 months ago, and was now the vice commander to Kakashi. Kakashi himself was also in his Umbu gear. Being the commander of the 9th Division was tough work, but he always managed to make it work. Yes, Shizen, where's Master? I thought she was the one calling us here. During the 2 years Naruto had been under, Sakura had become a Chunin and the second apprentice of Tsunade. Tsunade-sama said you were all taking too long and that you should go to the Namake's mansion immediately, Shizen nervously spoke. Once those words were mentioned, the three shined out of the room in a swirl of leaves, leading Shizen to do the same. The former members of Team 7 and Shizen appeared at the front gate of the mansion. They couldn't appear inside due to the seals surrounding the mansion that prevented entry via Shunshin. Scrambling for his key that opened the seal on the front gate, Kakashi opened the door and rushed inside. However, what they saw wasn't what they expected. Naruto was sitting down at the kitchen table talking with Tsunade about something with a teary look in his eyes, and a smile on his face. Naruto? Kakashi stepped up to the table where the two blondes were conversing. He looked away from their conversation and towards the new entrance of his house. Oh, hey Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke, Sakura-chan. Don't act like it's no big deal that you just woke up. Naturally, it was Sakura who yelled this out. there was Naruto, looking rather healthy as well, just like he was never in a coma in the first place. Naruto, you look different, Sasuke pointed out their friend's new appearance, which Tsunade seemed to have not mentioned based on his reaction. Different? Tsunade ran to the bathroom and grabbed a mirror. Naruto looked at himself and was shocked, to say the least. His once naturally tan skin was just as pale as an Uchiha's, and his hair was a lighter shade of blonde, more like platinum blonde rather than the sunny blonde it once was. The bright ocean blue eyes he used to have were gone as well, replaced by crimson red eyes with cat-like slits. Naruto's formerly pronounced whisker marks had faded just a bit, along with his jaw becoming just a bit sharper than it was before. Ah! Who is that? That's you, Dobe, was the curt reply from Sasuke, because even if he looked different, he was still Naruto. That's why I said not to get freaked out. I'll explain everything later. I think I know the cause of this, Tsunade spoke up. When I was in the study after moving Naruto here, I found a scroll specifically for me or Jiraiya that was written just before their death. From here on out, everything I say is an S-rank secret. You know what happens if you speak of it. What did it say, Bachan? Or not? It revealed something about Minato and Kushina that might be true for Naruto as well. It said that the two of them weren't human. To be specific, they were vampires. Naruto sat through this with a calm look on his face. I know that. But why would this happen now? Sakura was pretty confused. As were the others, vampires? Aren't they monsters from storybooks? Like weak to garlic and crosses? Tsunade nodded yes, but they sealed off their vampire blood to live as normal humans. No one knew of this secret, not even Jiraiya. When they unsealed their vampire blood, they would have a silver tint to their hair, and crimson eyes with cat-like slits. Their chakra also changed to something that they called Yuki, as the seal wasn't converting it to chakra anymore. Kakashi sat down in an open chair. This doesn't make any sense. That's what I thought at first too, but when I looked further into the scroll I found some interesting stuff. A formula for the seal that stopped their vampiric blood, and instructions for Jiraiya on how to apply it to Naruto in the case that he ever started showcasing the signs of being a vampire. I sent the scroll to Jiraiya with a messenger toad, and when he sent a response back, it seemed that the seal was the real deal, able to seal off special traits your blood gave you that weren't Kekkai Genkai. Sakura spoke again. How did no one notice up until this point? They said that they made a deal with the Kyuubi. He would seal Naruto's vampire blood off, in exchange for something that wasn't written down. The parts after that request that Naruto is sent to a place called Yokai Academy, a school with multiple people like Naruto, yokai that want to live among humans normally. The headmaster is an old friend of theirs. The letter ends after a final plea for him to be sent to that school with a communication seal next to it. Kakashi wanted to honor his sensei's last wish. I guess we have to send him. It was his parents' last wish for the seal to be put on him, and to then send him off to this Yokai Academy place. What? Why would we send him somewhere we hardly know? All we know is that his parents wanted him to go because their old friend is the headmaster. Surprisingly, it was Sakura who objected. Isn't Naruto too calm about this information? Sasuke pointed out that Naruto had looked rather bored through the entire explanation. That's because I already knew about the whole vampire thing. What? Came the synchronized shout of everyone in the room. Yeah, you learn a lot about yourself in a 2-year coma. But Yokai Academy? You need to tell us this stuff, Naruto. But before we can contact the school, we're waiting on Jiraiya. Did someone say my name? With a large puff of smoke, the toad sage Jiraiya arrived standing on the back of a toad with a ridiculous pose. A slight sigh came from Tsunade and looks of surprise from everyone other than Naruto. So you're here now, Jiraiya. Now that you're here, you have the scroll, right? Of course, Haim. Even I know that it's probably the most important thing to Naruto right now. He pulled the scroll out from his pouch and put it on the table in front of Tsunade. Then the toad he arrived on disappeared in the same puff of smoke in which it came. Before we activate the seal, Naruto and Sasuke need to get over here. I'm not sending Naruto somewhere we know nothing about alone, so Sasuke, your job will be to guard and monitor Naruto during his stay at the school. Hi, Hokage-sama. Sasuke deep bowed and moved in closer to the table, and Naruto just shifted his chair a bit. Tsunade and Jiraiya both bit their thumbs and let the blood drip onto the seal, activating it. The intricate kanji glowed blue and then fizzled out. After 10 seconds, a voice came from the scroll. Hello, you must be the Jiraiya and Tsunade Minato and Kushina used to talk about. I'm Mikagami Tenmei, headmaster of Yokai Academy. Tsunade didn't want Jiraiya to do anything stupid, so she did the talking. Yes, we are. Naruto has awakened his vampire blood, and according to this scroll, his parents wanted him to be enrolled at your school. Oh? Well, I can certainly arrange that, but because Naruto is a vampire, you would need to seal his vampiric blood before he can attend the academy. Having an S-class yokai roaming the halls in their monster form would be troubling for me. Thank you. If he is attending, we will give him a seal, but there is one condition for him to attend. Go on? We would like it if someone named Uchiha Sasuke attended alongside him. We don't necessarily trust you, even if Minato and Kushina did, so if he's gonna be attending, Sasuke will need to be in the same class as he is. That seems like something that can be done. I'll send you their uniforms through a transportation seal. The objects should show up in Minato's study by the end of the week, and the bus that will be taking them will come and pick them up in 3 months on April 12th. Bye. With that, Mikagami signed off and the room became silent until Naruto spoke. What's a bus? For 3 months, Naruto got used to his body. Sure, he trained non-stop in his landscape for nearly 2 years. But the only thing that was already perfect when he came out of his coma was his Yuki and chakra control. His body, on the other hand, was a complete mess. In his mindscape, his body was in peak physical condition, but he had just woke up from a coma, and the only thing keeping him walking upright was his unsealed vampire blood. During the 3 months, he got his body back into shape and got the Rosario pattern seal placed on the left side of his chest, where his heart was. But the seal didn't return him to his original looks. It kept everything the same except for his eyes returning to their normal ocean blue. For Sasuke, the 3 months were hellish. He was locked in a room every day with Jiraiya, who was doing something to the curse seal Orochimaru gave him, altering it so that there would be no influence from the snake-like man so that Sasuke could use it as his monster form in case anyone suspected him of being human at the academy. Naruto specifically trained hard to get back into shape and get his body used to the taijutsu style the Kyuubi taught him in his mindscape. It was a style that used an equal portion of power and speed by focusing on the legs, one the Kyuubi created for his human form because he felt human taijutsu styles were lacking. And before they knew it, the 3 months passed. By Gaki, I'll miss you. Be sure to send letters by messenger toads once a month. If you forget, I'll be angry when you come back. I got Bachan. I'll miss you too. Naruto went in for a hug with his motherly figure, and she kissed his forehead. Come back safe, you too, Sasuke. Hi, Hokage-sama. Naruto and Sasuke were now outfitted in the Yokai Academy uniforms. The uniforms were a green blazer that was worn over a white dress shirt and red tie. The pants were light brown and dark brown or black shoes were worn with them. Naruto had modified his uniform a bit by undoing the first few buttons of the dress shirt and leaving the tie loose. Sasuke, on the other hand, didn't wear his tie at all and had the first few buttons undone just like Naruto. Both fashioned the same over-the-shoulder Japanese-style school bag. As if it came out of nowhere, a bus started driving up to them. It's a lot smaller than a train, Any Sasuke. You're right, it's a lot smaller. But an idiot would have been able to notice that, dope. A boy inside the bus looked out the window. 1 second they had been inside a tunnel, the next they were in a rural area with trees everywhere. They approached a town with old-looking gates and waiting. 2 boys were talking and seemed to be close, one with platinum blonde hair and one with black. This place must be isolated from society with how old those gates are. The bus stopped in front of the gates and opened its doors to let the boys in. Team Dobe, Team Dobe. Before the boy with blonde hair could reply with a team to the black-haired boy, the bus driver spoke. I'd be careful if I was you guys. Yokai Academy is a scary place. The 2 that just entered waved the man off before sitting next to the boy already on the bus. They introduced themselves first. Hey, I'm Naruto, and the emo team over there is my best friend Sasuke. HN? That was all Sasuke said as he rested his head in his arm and started to take a nap. I'm Tsuken, nice to meet you, Tsuken. Naruto and Sasuke couldn't be more different, but he wanted to be friends with both of them. Don't mind Sasuke, he's always like that. Naruto patted Tsuken on the shoulder. Trust me, he can be a lot worse. Tsuken just sweat dropped at the antics of the 2 friends. In a matter of minutes, they entered and exited a strange tunnel that transported them somewhere that definitely wasn't Konoha. When the 3 were about to get off of the bus, the driver spoke again. Remember to be careful in there. Naruto grinned at the bus driver with glowing eyes. Don't worry, we will. The boys continued off the bus and walked down the road, seeing gravestones and skulls along the sides of the path. See, this really isn't a normal school, Dobe. Team Dobe. With the 2 returning to their normal antics, Sukun took the chance to start walking in front of the two. That was when, coming through, a girl on a bike came at them at a high speed. The bike got lifted off the ground and ended up crashing into Naruto's face, knocking him over, and throwing the girl riding off of the bike. Shit, that hurt. Naruto was now laying on his back with a slight scratch on his cheek, and the girl from the bike okay top of him. I'm sorry, I was a bit dizzy because of my anemia. Are you okay? The girl looked at him, and he felt a twinge in his chest. It was similar to the feeling he had in his memories of Mocha, not to mention that the girl was drop-dead gorgeous. She had pink hair that was close in shade to Sakura's and beautiful green eyes that entranced you just by glancing into them. I'm fine. He stumbled over his word until he could form a full sentence. The girl pulled out a tissue to wipe some of the blood off of his cheek, and then she started acting weird. The scent of blood, I lose control when I smell that scent. What's going on here? Naruto was freaking out internally but didn't show it on his face. I'm sorry, but it's just 'cause. The girl leaned forward and close to his face. I'm a vampire. Not kissing him as he thought, she went for his neck and bit into it for a good 5 to 10 seconds, sucking his blood. When she let up, Naruto jumped up, clutching his neck and running around like a madman. What the fuck? My neck! Sukun was in just as much turmoil as Naruto. A vampire? The girl stood up and dusted herself off. I'm sorry, I'm Akashi Mocha. Although I look like this, I'm a vampire. With that sentence, Naruto stopped running around. Mocha? And more importantly, there's another one here beside me? That was what he said, but what he thought was this: Mocha. They have the same name but look completely different, and my Mocha had an aura of power around her. She just feels like a normal person. Hey Dobe, looks like you found one of your kind, Sasuke smirked. When Naruto had been in his coma, Sasuke didn't have to worry about how he acted, but now that his best friend was awake, he subconsciously started acting the way he used to. Shut up, team! Naruto quickly turned to Sasuke and let go of his neck, revealing the bite mark to have vanished like it was never there. Another vampire? Mocha walked up to Naruto and looked him over. Where's your rosary? Don't all vampires need one to seal themselves? She pointed to the cross that was connected to the choker she wore. My rosary is sealed in my chest, that way it doesn't get accidentally removed. He pointed to his heart, though I can unlock it myself by choice. Sukun behind them had multiple thoughts racing through his head. Now Naruto said he's a vampire too? And what about Sasuke? He's not fazed by this at all. You two are vampires? And by a vampire, you mean blood-sucking monsters that hate crosses and garlic? Mocha looked at him with a sad expression. Why, do you hate our kind? As fast as light, Sukun shook his head. Of course not, it's just a little unique. That's great. If you all are okay with me, let's are friends. I was feeling kind of lonely here since I don't know anyone here. Naruto regained his thoughts and returned from calculating the probability that this was the same Mocha he knew. Sure. I was already planning on making friends with Sukun, so let's all be friends. Sasuke replied in the Uchiha language HN. I'll translate for you. That means, fine. Naruto was going to get annoying to be around pretty soon. Why yeah, I'll be your friend. Sukun was able to manage a smile and get back to normal. Maybe all of his new friends were delusional. Maybe this was all a dream. He decided to leave it all to Lady Luck. The new friends made their way through the school and the after-entrance ceremony made their way to class. Somehow Mocha got lost on the way though. All three boys were in the same class. Naruto sat in the middle row's window seat, Sasuke one seat in front of him, and Sukun to Sasuke's right. Their teacher walked up to the front of the classroom to start homeroom. Her hair was shaped like cat ears, while wearing a white blouse, orange skirt, low-heel sandals, and her eyes seemed to be closed. Her hair is sandy blonde with darker blonde tips. Hello everyone and welcome to Yokai Academy. I am your homeroom teacher Nikanome Shizuka. I think you all already know this, but this is a school built for the sake of yokai to attend. Sukun went into a mini panic. He looked around the room and saw Naruto nonchalantly looking out the window. Sasuke was writing something in his notebook, and the rest of the class was normal as well. Our current problem is that Earth is under the control of humans. In order for us monsters to continue to survive, we have no choice but to continue to peacefully coexist with humans. She pointed to the blackboard which had a diagram that looked like it was drawn by a child on it. At this academy, you'll be studying how to coexist with humans. Sukun's panic increased. So for that reason, it's a school rule to stay in your human forms at all times, even in the dorm hallways. As an additional rule, you are not to let other students know your true form, understand? A brunette student who sat right in front of Sukun spoke up, "Hey, teacher, would it not be better for us just to eat up those puny humans and in the case of pretty girls, molest them?" Naruto shot a glare at the brunette, and muttered under his breath, "Scum. You're Saizu, right? Incidentally, here at Yokai Academy all students and teachers are yokai. There are no genuine humans here. Because this academy is hidden in a secret world. Any human who finds out will be brought to death or something." Right as Sukun was about to decide to leave the academy, a girl walked into the room. "Sorry I'm late. After the entrance ceremony, I got lost in the school." "That's fine, just take a seat wherever." When Mocha walked in, tons of things could be heard from the boys of the class. "Wow! She's so hot. Even if it's just her human form, she's really cute." Naruto was too busy glaring at Saizu to notice, and Sasuke was writing away in his notebook. Sukun was the only one of the three who noticed her coming through the door. "And Momoka?" He weakly said her name, and she jumped towards him. "Sukun! Sasuke, Naruto. We're all in the same class." She went and gave all three of them a hug, which made them the target of all the boys' envy. The hug snapped Naruto out of his stupor and allowed him to go back to gazing out the window, but not before he caught a strange look in Saizu's eyes, the same look that Orochimaru had when he eyed Sasuke. The look of a perverted bastard after someone's body.